Time now for Grace's News.
Hello, Howard, Lawrence, Carr. I just a heads up, we're waiting for Biden to talk. So if he does, he can take it away because we don't hear a lot from Joe Biden. So if he decides to chime in during my news, so be it. I will give him the microphone. In other news, though, Howie, Andrew Cuomo says tax hikes are on the table despite billions in COVID.
He's only getting $12 billion bailout for destroying the state and city of New York.
It's like he wakes up every day and goes, how can I be less popular today? You know, like the sexual harassment allegations, the nursing home scandal. And he's like, what's going to make it worse? I'll tell people I'm going to raise their taxes because that's what the people in New York want to hear.
You know, there's only 300,000 people have moved out of New York City, literally changed their mailing addresses in the last year. 300,000, and that's the 300,000 people who are probably, for the most part, in the top 25% of the wage earners in New York City. So, what better way to chase even more of them out than to raise their taxes?
Exactly. I'm amazed by him and by his arrogance and how far he's fallen, Howie. In other news, Buzzfeed takes Buzzsaw to newly acquired Huffington Post. I'm sure you heard about this, Howie.
Yes, the Puffington Post, a good left-wing site, and they're going to they've been acquired by Buzzfeed, which has all the cat. What do you call those things that they have with kittens?
The cat memes.
Cat memes or
cat quizzes.
Yeah,
all kinds of cat stuff.
They have a lot of quizzes like, what kind of bread are you? Or, you know, like, what does your favorite ice cream flavor say about your zodiac sign? I've never taken them, but as a Gemini who likes strawberry ice cream, I can tell you that it really makes you a successful person.
I'm sure that all the Puffington Post people, as Rush used to call them, I'm sure they thought that paradise had arrived when they got rid of Orange Man Bad, and that they were in the end times, and it was going to be nothing but wonderful days, the days of wine and roses, and now they're on the unemployment line. Funny how that worked out for them, wasn't it?
I know, and it's funny because you're hearing people now. They're bringing up Trump. Like, I understand for a long time, the reporters, how he would toss out questions that they would set it up very easily for someone like Jen Psaki to bring up Trump. But now they're becoming more and more panicky, and they're just throwing him in whenever they can. Like today when they said, Jen, about the border crisis, and she said, is there a mess? Peter Doocy said, is there a messaging problem? And she said, well, the previous administration had a morality problem. And I'm thinking to myself, nobody mentioned the previous administration. Like, why are you bringing this up?
And what was the morality problem? The fact that they had hope and empathy for the American people rather than the illegal aliens who were breaking the law and trying to get into the country and get a free ride for the rest of their lives. Who comes first in this country? The tax-paying, law-abiding U.S. citizens who play by the rules and pay the taxes and keep the country running, or the freeloaders who just want to break in and be on a permanent vacation?
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to give you a dose of reality, Captain. This is the ranking. It goes 1, illegal immigrants, 2, prisoners, 3, Neanderthals. You're part of group 3, and you better get used to it.
That's right. And, I'm so happy for all the prisoners today that are going to get the $1,400. They got the vaccines ahead of all the old people and the people who tried to get appointments through the Massachusetts websites that were totally worthless. And now the prisoners who are vaccinated are going to get $1,400 stimulus checks. Isn't that great?
On the upside, though, I think Sarniev can get a new white baseball cap, right, Howie?
That's true. Sarniev is eligible for the $1,400 as well. And if Bernie Sanders has his way, he'll be allowed to vote too. That's not in HR 1 yet, but that'll be in HR 1 in down the road. Prisoners, even Muslim terrorists, mass murdering, serial killing Muslim terrorists on death row will be allowed to vote, probably multiple times.
Howie, speaking of prisoners, did you hear this story out of California where a prisoner, he's in jail for killing another gang member. He shot him in close range in the head. and he's in prison. And because of the new directives of their DA there, Gascon, he might be able to get out of prison. And he filmed himself in his cell drinking like moonshine or something, or white lightning. I don't know what they're calling it.
Some kind of
toilet wine,
something that they make in the prison, basically. Yes, I understand.
And he specifically toasts the DA, this guy Gascon.
He's a George Soros supported guy. He's one of these. He knocked off the incumbent DA. She was a black woman, but she wasn't woke enough, so they knocked her off. And so they're going. There's also a story today that the DA in Philadelphia, another Soros supported guy, his name is Krasner. He spent $250,000 since he was elected on. He has an immigration lawyer that helps these illegal aliens that are charged with rape or murder figure out ways to avoid being deported. And they said, well, he doesn't deal with serious crimes like rape and murder, but they filed a FOIA request. And indeed, he does deal with rapes and murders by illegal aliens and tries to keep them from being deported. It's wonderful that George Soros has gotten involved in races at the district attorney level, isn't it?
Well, it's amazing because you really get a sense of who these directives are helping when a gang member in prison is toasting you with his cellie mate. That's what he said. I'm here with my cellie. And they're so happy about this that they might be released from prison. So like you said, Howie, it just shows you where the Democrats are at. In other news, House passes landmark $1.9 trillion COVID bill, delivers Biden first legislative win. Your take, Howie, on this coronavirus relief bill. Not a lot of the money is actually going to COVID relief, but it's going somewhere.
Again, there are 2 million inmates, more than 2 million inmates in various houses of correction, jails, prisons, penitentiaries, work camps in the United States. And apparently all of them are going to be eligible to get a $1,400 check because the Democrats rejected on a party line vote a Republican amendment to stop the prisoners from getting these relief checks. And people say, well, with Trump's relief package, they got the checks too. Yes, they got the checks too, or they may have gotten the checks. I think it's still in litigation. But the Internal Revenue Service, Grace, said no. You can't give the checks to prisoners. And guess what happened?
What?
The public defenders went to court and found themselves an Obama judge who said it was discrimination not to give those serial killers and those mass murderers and those rapists and those fentanyl dealers the same checks that everybody else was getting.
And yeah, so, and Howie, I remember you saying this yesterday, but this time around, it's pretty amazing because this time around, they made a concerted effort to say they are getting it.
Right.
No, that's what I'm saying is that they specifically said, hey, so we avoid this problem. Let's make sure we stop it this time. And the Democrats wanted these prisoners to get their checks.
And again, thank you, Joe Manchin, as my last caller last night said. How Joe Manchin vote? Joe Manchin voted to give the prisoners the money. Sinema from Arizona, she voted to give the prisoners their money. Every Democrat in the Senate voted that the rapists, murderers, drug dealers should get $1,400.
Well, Howie, you know what I like to say about Joe Manchin?
He's always there when you don't need him.
I think that's one of the best descriptions of these people is that one about Joe Manchin. It's so true. This guy, if you have trust in Joe Manchin, I mean, you're out of your mind because this guy promises so many things. He said he wasn't going to vote for the COVID relief bill unless it was both sides. They didn't get one Republican vote, and guess who still voted for it? Yeah. Good old Joe Manchin. Anyway, though, Howie, I want to play this cut of Pelosi talking about this COVID relief bill that she's so incredibly proud of. Cut 29.
You're just going to have to ask the virus. If it stops mutating, if it stops spreading and therefore mutating, then this will be. And some of the provisions in here that have a fuse, like the expanded tax, the enhanced unemployment insurance benefit that goes until the fall. We'll just see where we are then. But it's not anything anybody can predict. It's just a question of the science, and we will.
Oh, I gotta say, Howie, I know we do this every day, but I am so sick of these people. I'm so sick of every day hearing Jen Psaki and Nancy Pelosi and Dr. Fauci. I liked your last caller who called in and said, why are we giving Dr. Nancy Pelosi? I can see a little bit. She was elected, whether you like her or not. But Dr. Fauci, I mean, this guy wasn't picked by anybody. And yet we're going off of his science. And now he's saying about following the science that you got to make a judgment call.
You know, he's the guy, Dr. Fauci, who said it was okay to pick up, if you were gay, to pick up somebody on one of those gay dating services. That was fine. But having grandma over for Christmas dinner, that was verboten.
Oh, and speaking of that, how you just segued me into my last story pretty nicely. You know what Marty Walsh is reminding people?
St. Patrick's Day.
No parties, no potty Marty is back, and he doesn't want you to throw a party. And I know I've said this before, Howie, but what they don't realize is they're appealing or they're enticing people like Howie Carr, who never throw parties. Suddenly, someone like Howie is picking out his favorite green shirt and getting a big bowl of chips and inviting the neighbors over.
Getting some McConnell's.
Yeah, no, and McConnell's Irish whiskey. And you're like Larry David. Now you're throwing spite parties.
That's a good way to put it, spite parties. I mean, who the hell is Marty Walsh or Charlie Parker to tell me whether or not I am going to have a party or not going to have a party? Maybe I'll have a party to watch the virtual St. No, I'm not going that far.
Howie, I wonder if Charlie Baker, when he hears about all these illegal immigrants coming over the border, if he, you know how he's always so worried when he hears about Bruins parties and Super Bowl spreaders.
Right.
He's always worried about the masks. I wonder if when he reads these about 100 people with COVID coming in and getting on Greyhounds.
Please tell me they were wearing face coverings.
They weren't,
he asked
Charlie.
that question?
Charlie, they weren't. And a lot of them were from Guatemala, which the CDC has told Americans to avoid because the rate of infection is so high in Guatemala. But if they come across the border.
Biden's on.
Okay. Biden is coming on here. So
Perfect timing.
Okay. Do we need to go to the break or not?
Yeah, take the break.
Okay. We're going to take a break and then we'll be right back with Dementia Joe. Have you ever wondered what makes Omaha Steaks so darn good? It's the aging process. Omaha Steaks ages their steaks at least 21 days because that's the sweet spot. It's where the magic happens. You can try these mouth-watering steaks in the Butcher's Bestsellers Grill Pack. It includes 4 of their iconic and fork-tender Butcher's Cut filet mignons, 4 ultra-juicy burgers, 4 savory pork chops, a kielbasa, desserts, potatoes or gratin, even seasonings. Go to omahasteaks.com and enter Howie into the search bar for a special price on this Butcher's Bestsellers package. Plus, if you enter that word Howie, you'll get 4 more chicken breasts and 4 more of these delicious burgers for free. Omaha Steaks has been the leader of gourmet steaks and food since 1917. No one comes close to matching the flavor, tenderness, and value of Omaha Steaks. And they have other great products too. While you're there at the website, omahasteaks.com, check out the hot dogs. They are really, really good. They have all kinds of good stuff in there. I had another burger today for lunch. I make them on the weekend, and you can just microwave them. They're still good, even if they come out of the microwave, but they're even better on the grill as the weather gets warmer. Go to omahasteaks.com, type keyword Howie into the search bar, and order the Butcher's Bestseller Pack today. Don't forget, you'll get the 4 free chicken breasts and the 4 free burgers if you just punch in Howie. That's omahasteaks.com, keyword Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr.